On my bench is a $6,000 torque converter from a modern 8-speed transmission. It wasn't in a crash. It wasn't abused off-road. It was murdered by a $12 bottle of the wrong fluid. I've torn down hundreds of transmissions just like this one, and I've seen how this exact chemical mistake ruins nearly half of them. Today, we're going inside the crime scene. I'm going to show you the 9 steps in the death of a transmission, revealing the invisible damage happening inside your own car before it's too late. We'll count down from a simple mistake to the catastrophic failure at number 1 that welds your transmission into a solid block of metal. And you have to stay for the end, because I'm giving you 4 specific fixes that stop this entire nightmare before it ever starts. Number 9. The viscosity mismatch. It all starts with a choice at the parts store. You see a bottle that says multi-vehicle. Seems smart, right? One size fits all. But have you ever noticed a tiny, almost imperceptible lag on the first shift of a cold morning? That's the seed. Here's the thing. Your transmission is a hydraulic computer, designed for a fluid with a specific viscosity. Its exact thickness at an exact temperature. That multi-vehicle fluid is a compromise, engineered to not immediately grenade dozens of different transmissions. But it was never optimized for yours. According to SAE paper 2023-01-1195, even a 10% deviation in viscosity can disrupt clutch apply rates, causing microscopic slip or harsh engagement. It's a $12 bottle that sets you up for a hidden $3,000 problem. Catch it with a fluid analysis, and you're out maybe $150. Let it ride, and you're buying a new valve body for $2,000. If this seems harmless, wait until that fluid gets hot. Notice that cold start hesitation? Drop your car's mileage in the comments. Number 8. The pressure fluctuation. 3 weeks later, the problem evolves. You feel a slight hesitation on the 2 to 3 shift, even when the engine is warm. It's so subtle you think you're imagining it. You're not. Here's the thing. Inside the valve body, that wrong viscosity is fighting the solenoids. Your transmission's computer commands shifts by sending precise electrical pulses to these solenoids, which snap open and closed to route high-pressure fluid. The entire system is calibrated for a response, time measured in milliseconds. Your fluid, being just a little too thick or thin, makes that response erratic. A general. Motors TSB, document ID 5422830, flags these pressure deviations as the first sign of impending clutch pack failure. It's a $500 diagnostic and solenoid swap if you catch it now. Ignore it for a few months, and you're looking at a $1,700 valve body replacement. Let it go a year, and the pressure spikes start doing real, physical damage to the clutches. Felt that lazy shift? Tell me what gear it happens in. Number 7. The first burnt smell. Meanwhile, in Arizona, a customer with this exact transmission complains about a smell after climbing a long grade. I trust it when you can smell it. It's a uniquely acrid, burnt marshmallow odor that tells me something is dying. Here's the thing. Every time a clutch pack engages with that wrong pressure, it's either slamming too hard or slipping too long. Both generate a massive spike of heat. The fluid, not built for these thermal shocks, begins to oxidize. Its protective additives literally burn away. An oil analysis from Blackstone Labs on a sample like this would show oxidation numbers 50% higher than a healthy unit, a clear signal that the fluid has failed. That smell is the first sensory clue. That your fluid is no longer a lubricant, it's a liability. A simple fluid and filter change is $250 now. Let it keep cooking, and the fluid itself becomes the enemy, costing you a $3,000 clutch pack replacement. Hit like if you know that smell. The next stage is where your wallet really starts to hurt. Number 6. The clutch glaze. Before you turn the key tomorrow, think about this. That burnt, oxidized fluid has lost its friction modifiers. Now, when the clutches engage, they slip for just a fraction of a second longer than designed. You feel it as a harsh, jerky shift. Here's the thing, that microscopic slip generates an insane temperature spike right at the clutch surface. We're talking 5, 6, 700 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to change the molecular structure of the friction material. This intense heat glazes the clutch, creating a hard, shiny, low-friction surface. Think of it like polishing a brake pad until it's slick as glass. A 2022 report by the lab Intertech confirmed that glazed clutches lose up to 40% of their holding power. Now the computer has to jack up line pressure just to stop the slip, which creates even more heat. It's a death spiral. You can't fix this with chemicals. You're now into a $900 repair for one clutch pack, if you're lucky. If the damage is wider, it's a $2,800 job. Soon, you'll feel it somewhere else. Ever feel a shift that snaps your neck? That's the one. Number 5. The shudder. Now you can't ignore it. Driving on the highway, you feel a distinct shudder as the torque converter locks up. It feels exactly like you're driving over rumble strips for a second or two. Here's the thing, that glazing isn't just on your forward clutches. It's happening inside your torque converter clutch, the component designed for a perfectly smooth, seamless lockup. Now it's chattering as it struggles to grab. According to NHTSA complaint logs, this specific shudder is one of the most common driver complaints leading to a full transmission replacement. With over 3,000 filed for a single popular SUV model between 2019 and 2022. That shudder is the clutch screaming for mercy. It's also shedding its own friction material into your fluid, turning it into liquid sandpaper. A new torque converter is $2,500, parts and labor. But by now, that contaminated fluid has spread everywhere. If you've felt that rumble strip shudder, drop your car's year below, because what comes next is silent but violent. Number 4. The metal contamination. The shudder is worse, and now there's a new sound. A faint, high-pitched whine that rises and falls with engine RPM. Sounds like a supercharger, but it isn't. Here's the thing. Your fluid is no longer just burnt fluid. It's a metallic slurry. That liquid sandpaper you created is eating away at soft metal bushings, bearings, and the planetary gear sets. The whine you hear is the sound of precision-machined steel being torn apart at 3,000 RPM. When I pull the pan on a transmission like this, the magnet looks like it's covered in metallic paste. That isn't normal break-in fuzz, it's your hard parts turning into glitter. A transmission at 80,000 miles can have more metal in the pan than a healthy unit with 250,000 miles running the right fluid. At this point, a fluid change will do nothing. You're looking at a minimum $4,000 rebuild. Let it go, and you're buying a used transmission for $5,000. And we still haven't reached the point of no return. Tap that subscribe button to avoid this bill, because the next stage is the death blow. Number 3. The blued steel. The transmission now slips badly in third gear. The engine revs high, but the car barely accelerates. You have to feather the throttle just to get home, praying it doesn't give up completely. Here's the thing. The computer has maxed out the line pressure, but the glazed, worn-out clutches can't hold the torque. The slippage is now constant under any load, generating incredible, sustained heat. When I tear these down, the evidence is undeniable. The steel plates between the friction clutches are a deep, dark blue. Steel turns that specific color when it's been soaked. In temperatures over 500 degrees Fahrenheit. This isn't a momentary spike anymore. This is a catastrophic heat soak that warps the steel plates, meaning even new clutches won't sit flat. That heat can even warp the transmission case itself. The damage is now irreversible. A rebuild starts at $4,500, but a new transmission from the dealer is closer to $7,000. And it's about to get worse. Heard that RPM flare with no power? It's time to park it. Number 2. The limp mode. You're trying to merge onto the freeway. You press the gas, the engine roars, and then nothing. The gear indicator on the dash starts flashing, and the car feels like it's stuck in one gear with no power. You've just entered limp mode. Here's the thing. The transmission control module has detected a catastrophic slip ratio. It sees the input shaft spinning wildly while the output shaft barely moves, and it knows the transmission is hemorrhaging internally. To prevent a total lockup and a potential accident, it commands maximum line pressure and locks into a single gear, usually second or third. It's a last-ditch software command to save itself. A fault code like PO730, incorrect gear ratio, is now stored permanently in the computer. This is the car waving the white flag. There is no coming back from this. Your only drive now is to the repair shop for a $6,000 replacement, but there's one final violent step. Before you call the tow truck, prepare for what's next. This is it, the absolute end of the line. You hear a loud bang from under the car, followed by a horrifying grinding noise, and the vehicle lurches to a stop. It will not move forward or reverse. You are dead on the side of the road. Here's the thing. The heat from that slipping third-gear clutch pack became so intense, so localized, that it friction-welded the clutch plates directly to the steel hub. They are now one solid piece of metal. The engine is mechanically locked to a component that can no longer disengage. When I get these on my tear-down bench, I have to use a hammer and a chisel to break the clutches free. They look like scorched, blackened glass fused to blued steel. This is the $6,000 failure I showed you at the beginning. The one that started with a $12 bottle of the wrong fluid. Don't let this be your car. Now, stay right there, because we're covering the 4 simple checks that make sure this never ever happens. First, use the exact fluid specified in your owner's manual. Not compatible. Not multi-vehicle. If your manual says Toyota WS, use Toyota WS. If it says Mercon ULV, use a licensed Mercon ULV. The engineers spent millions designing your transmission's behavior around that exact fluid chemistry. Don't try to outsmart them for $5. Second, check your fluid level and condition every other oil change. Pull the dipstick. The fluid should be bright red or pink and translucent, not cloudy. If it's turned brown or black, it's cooked. And if it smells burnt, you already have a problem that needs a professional diagnosis immediately. Third, change your fluid more often than the manufacturer suggests, especially if you tow, drive in the mountains, or sit in heavy traffic. That lifetime fluid claim is a marketing myth designed to sell new cars, not make yours last. A simple drain and fill every 30,000 to 50,000 miles is the best life insurance policy you can buy for your transmission. Finally, avoid high-pressure fluid flushes on any transmission with over 75,000 miles that hasn't been regularly serviced. These machines can dislodge years of settled sludge and debris from the pan, sending it straight into the delicate passages of the valve body, causing the very problems you're trying to prevent. A gentle drain and fill is always the safer bet. Now that you know how the wrong fluid starts a thermal cascade that glasses your clutches and welds them together, the next critical step is understanding what's happening inside your engine. Watch our deep dive on engine oil analysis to Catch the silent failures that destroy bearings and camshafts from the inside out before you hear a single knock.